Welcome to my Abyssal Creatures Slayer guide, in which I will cover everything you need to know about taking down these new creatures effectively. Whenever you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax, and enjoy. These are high-level Slayer creatures requiring level 95, 105, and 115 Slayer respectively. These creatures are located at the Senntisten Asylum, which can be found in the northeastern corner at the city of Senntisten. In the video clip on screen you see me walking there using my archaeology journal teleport, but there are faster ways listed on screen. If you need this information, be sure to pause the video. Moving on. While you can kill all creatures using whatever combat style you like, using magic and tank armor utilizing the anime Dead spell, unlocked from the City of Senntisten quest, is absolutely the best if you want to AFK these things. In this guide I'm mostly going to be focusing on the Abyssal Lords to maximize your experience, but I'll briefly be covering the other creatures as well. The image on screen shows a high level setup example, but I'm going to show you some alternative examples as well. This is the setup I personally use when taking on 4 or 5 lords at the exact same time. However, when killing the other types of creatures or just taking on one lord at a time, you absolutely do not need Crypt Bloom whatsoever. You can get away using Sea Singers or Ganodermic as well. But the point remains, you want to be using magic tank armor in combination with the anime Dead spell. You can easily kill the savages at level 95 Slayer using that magic tank armor and an Uldat coil, which is a magic invention cannon. With an aggression potion you should be able to net around 543,000 Slayer experience per hour base. The Abyssal Beasts are pretty much the same thing. You just pop your aggression potion, place your Uldat coil, and AFK. If you're struggling to AFK, be sure to use a Vampirism Aura for extra healing. Using an Inquisitor Staff, I was able to get 714,000 Slayer experience per hour. Unlike the Abyssal Savages, the Abyssal Beasts do have a special very rare drop, being the Jaws of the Abyss helmet. Going back to my Noxious Staff and using the exact same magic tank armor setup, I was able to get 740,000 experience per hour by camping one single Abyssal Lord spawn by placing down my cannon. You do not need an aggression potion to do this, as it will automatically aggro on top of you because it's attacked by the Uldat coil. The Abyssal Lords drop the very rare Abyssal Scourge tier 92 whip, and they also drop an item known as the Gate Key. This key can open up the gate shortcut from the Abyssal Savages down to the Abyssal Lord. For this you're also going to need a one-time use piece of rope. After that you'll be able to use this shortcut an infinite amount of times. Now if you really want to get a ton of Slayer experience and kills per hour, you want to kill multiple Lords at the same time. But just how many and how do you do that? Well, you can put these creatures in your personal owned Slayer dungeon, and in combination with beasts, you're able to AFK them quite well. Thanks to my buddy Loot Shark, who was able to get a ton of souls, I was able to test all kinds of variations in his personal owned Slayer dungeon. So having one Lord and 4 beasts in your personal owned Slayer dungeon will net you 900,000 Slayer experience per hour, which is about 21.6% better than killing one Lord spawn in the Asylum. 2 Lords and 3 Beasts in your personal and Slayer dungeon will net you 1.2 million Slayer experience per hour base. This is about 63.46% better than doing one Lord spawn in the Asylum. It is worth noting that at this point I had to use Crypt Bloom because Sea Singers and a Vampirism Aura just didn't cut it anymore, so if you're going to be doing more than one Lord in your personal Slayer dungeon in combination with Beasts, you probably want to have some Crypt Bloom armor. 3 Lords and 2 Beasts netted me around 1.285 million Slayer experience per hour base, which is about 73.68% better than one Lord spawn in the Asylum. 4 Lords and 1 Beast netted me 1.51 million Slayer experience per hour, which is about 104.32% better than one spawn in the Asylum. Finally, 5 Lords without any beast in the personal owned Slayer dungeon netted me 1.56 million Slayer experience per hour, which is almost 111% better than doing one Lord spawn in the Asylum. It is worth noting at this point I needed to use the Death Ward relic to stay alive. With 4 Lords and 1 beast I was able to do it without the Death Ward relic. Now here comes the interesting part. Killing 5 Lords at the Asylum netted me 1.58 million Slayer experience base per hour. This is slightly better than killing 5 in your personal owned Slayer dungeon, and I found it far easier to AFK them at the Asylum. And thus I come to the conclusion that killing 5 Lords in the Asylum using a Dwarf Siege Engine, which is the upgraded Royal Cannon, is the best option for the average Joe. For those wondering where to set up your cannon, you want to place it in the middle of all the spawns as seen on video. And this is why I showed you this gear setup. This is the gear setup I used to farm 5 spawns at the exact same time at the Asylum. Some things worth pointing out in this setup is that I was using the Scripture of Full, as these Abyssal Lords tend to teleport around, so using a Scripture when isn't ideal. The Blood Reaver is by far the best familiar to use here, as these monsters are poisonable and you're using all kinds of healing things, including the Vampire's Armour and Soul Split. More deeps. I was using the Greater Chain ability, and without it I assume this method is going to be far less effective. I was camping the Insight Fear spell to give myself more AoE damage procs, which will kill those little minions, and would reduce the amount of adrenaline required for Tsunami. Alternatively, if you don't want to use this spell, you could also camp Exsanguinate instead. It's worth noting that the XP rates I mentioned can be even higher if you use things like the Magma Tempest ability and the Demon Slayer perk. There are a couple of things I didn't use either because I didn't have them or didn't use them due to costs. To keep it consistent, I didn't end up adding different perks to my gear throughout the video. If you're using the Magma Tempest ability and the Demon Slayer perk, expect to get even more experience per hour. And that's how you get one of the best Slay experience rates in the game completely AFK. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful. If you did, leave a like down below and maybe even consider subscribing. And a thank you to the channel members supporting the channel. If you too want to support the channel, click the join option down below. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.